There was a moment last night, a quiet, fragile moment when the world was asleep, but your pain was wide awake. I heard you crying, not just the sound, but the silence behind it, the kind of silence that screams when no one is there to listen. And it broke me because the one heart I would protect from everything was fighting a storm alone. My love, you don't have to be strong every second. You don't have to hide your tears like there's something to be ashamed of. If I could, I would gather every tear you've ever cried and carry them for you just so your heart could finally rest. Tonight, this isn't just words. This is a promise that you are not alone anymore. Last night, something inside me changed. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, the kind of quiet that feels heavier than any noise. Because in that silence, I heard you. I heard you crying, not the kind of crying people notice, not the kind you show the world with trembling hands or tearful eyes, but the kind you try to bury deep inside your chest, hoping no one will ever find it. But I did, and it broke me in a way I can't fully explain. Because when the person you love, the one you would give everything to protect, is hurting in silence, it feels like your own heart is being torn apart slowly, piece by piece. I kept thinking, how long have you been carrying this? How many nights have you smiled during the day, only to fall apart when no one was watching? How many times have you told yourself, I'm okay, when deep down you were anything but okay? And the truth is, that thought alone destroys me, because you were never meant to carry pain like this on your own. You were never meant to feel like your tears had to be hidden, like your sadness had to be silenced, like your heart had to fight its battles alone. And yet, you did. You stood there, strong on the outside, while inside you were breaking, and I didn't see it. Or maybe I saw pieces, but I didn't understand how deep it went. That's the part that hurts the most, knowing that you were right there, so close to me, and still you felt alone. I keep replaying that moment in my mind, the sound of your quiet pain echoing in the darkness. It wasn't just sadness, it was exhaustion, the kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from being tired, but from feeling too much for too long, the kind that makes your heart feel heavy, your thoughts feel overwhelming. Your soul feel like it just wants a moment to breathe. And my love, you deserve that moment. You deserve someone to sit beside you, to hold your hand, to tell you that it's okay to fall apart sometimes. But instead, you were there, alone with your tears, and I can't ignore that. I can't pretend it didn't happen, because loving you means feeling your pain, even when you try to hide it. It means noticing the cracks in your voice, the pauses in your words, the weight behind your silence. It means understanding that sometimes your I'm fine is just a shield, a quiet plea for someone to look deeper, to stay, to care enough to ask again. And I want you to know something real. You don't have to protect me from your pain. You don't have to pretend you're strong just to keep things together. You don't have to hide the parts of you that feel broken, because those are the parts I would hold the closest. I don't love you only for your smiles or your laughter or the light you bring into the world. I love you for everything, for your fears, your doubts, your quiet struggles, your late night thoughts that keep you awake. I love the parts of you that you think are too much, because to me, they're not too much. They're real, and real is what matters. So when I heard you crying, it wasn't just your pain I felt, it was the distance you created to carry it alone. And that's what shattered me, because you should never feel like you have to face your darkness by yourself. Not when I'm here, not when my heart is right beside yours, ready to carry whatever you can't hold anymore. I wish I could go back to that moment, sit next to you quietly, not saying anything at first, just being there, letting you feel that you're not alone, letting your tears fall without fear, without hesitation, because sometimes the most powerful thing someone can do is simply stay, and I would stay. Through every tear, every silence, every moment where words don't come easily, I would stay. Because you staying strong for too long doesn't mean you have to stay strong forever. You deserve to rest. You deserve to feel safe enough to let go, to cry without holding back, to speak without filtering your pain, to exist without pretending everything is okay. And I want to be the place where you can do that, not because I have all the answers, but because I care enough to listen, to truly listen, not just to your words, but to the emotions behind them, to the things you don't say, the feelings you hide between your sentences, the weight you carry in your silence. I want to understand you, not just see you. I want to feel what you feel, not just hear about it. Because loving you means being there, even in the parts that hurt, especially in the parts that hurt. So when you feel like the world is too heavy, when your heart starts to sink under the weight of everything, when the night feels longer than it should, you don't have to go through it alone anymore. You don't have to cry in silence, hoping no one notices, because I will notice. I will always notice, not just your tears, but the reason behind them, not just your pain, but the strength it takes for you to keep going despite it. And I won't turn away from it. I won't ignore it. I won't let you feel invisible in your darkest moments, because to me, you matter too much. Your heart matters too much. Your feelings, your struggles, your quiet battles, they all matter. And if you ever feel like you're breaking again, if the night becomes too heavy, if the silence starts to feel overwhelming, I want you to remember something. You don't have to hide, not from me, not anymore, because I'm here not just for your brightest days, but for your darkest nights, not just for your laughter, but for your tears, not just for the version of you that the world sees, but for the version of you that cries when no one else is around. You don't have to suffer alone. I know you've convinced yourself that you do, that somehow your pain is yours to carry quietly, carefully, without letting it spill into anyone else's world. I know that voice inside your head, the one that tells you to stay strong, to keep smiling, to not burden anyone with what you feel. But that voice is wrong, because love was never meant to feel like isolation, and strength was never meant to mean silence. You weren't made to fight your battles in the dark, pretending everything is okay when your heart is barely holding itself together. You weren't made to cry into your pillow at night and then wake up in the morning as if nothing ever happened. That kind of loneliness, it doesn't make you stronger. It just makes the pain grow deeper, heavier, harder to carry. And I see it. Even when you think you're hiding it perfectly, I see the little things. The way your smile fades just a second too early. The way your eyes drift somewhere far away when you think no one is watching. The way your voice softens like you're holding something back. You think you're protecting everyone else by staying quiet, but what you're really doing is hurting yourself more than you deserve. And I can't stand the thought of that. I can't stand knowing that you're out there carrying all of this alone when I'm right here, willing to listen, willing to understand, willing to sit with you in the middle of your pain without trying to fix you, without trying to fix you, without trying to rush you, just being there. Because sometimes that's all a heart needs, not solutions, not perfect words, just presence. Someone who doesn't turn away when things get heavy, someone who doesn't disappear when emotions become too real, someone who stays even when it's hard. And I want to be that for you, but you have to let me in. I know that's not easy. I know you've probably been in places before where opening up only made things worse, where your feelings weren't understood or maybe even ignored, where you learned that it's safer to keep everything inside. So you built walls carefully, slowly, brick by brick. And now those walls feel like protection, like control, like safety, but they're also keeping you alone. And you don't deserve to be alone in this. You don't deserve to carry nights full of tears without someone lending your hand. You don't deserve to feel like your pain is too much for anyone to handle, because it's not too much. You are not too much. Your emotions, your fears, your struggles, they are not something to hide. They are something to be understood. And I want to understand even the messy parts, even the complicated thoughts, even the feelings you don't know how to explain. You don't have to organize your pain into perfect sentences for me. You don't have to make it sound acceptable, or reasonable. If all you have are broken words, pauses, silence, tears, that's enough. I will sit with you in that. I will listen to the things you can say and the things you can't, because you don't need to be perfect to be heard. You just need to be real. And I want all of you, not just the easy parts. So the next time your chest feels heavy, the next time your thoughts start to overwhelm you, the next time you feel like breaking down in the quiet of the night, don't push it away. Don't lock it inside like it doesn't matter. Let it out. Let me in. Let someone share that weight with you. Because pain, when carried alone, becomes unbearable. But when it's shared, even just a little, it starts to lose its power. It starts to breathe. It starts to heal. And I know you've been strong for so long, too long. You've held yourself together in ways that most people will never understand. You've kept going, even when everything inside you wanted to stop. And that kind of strength, it's beautiful, but it's also exhausting, and you don't have to keep proving it. You don't have to keep showing the world that you can handle everything, because you don't have to handle everything alone. Not anymore. You can lean on me, not because you're weak, but because you're human. And being human means feeling, breaking, needing, healing. It means sometimes you need someone else to help you stand when you rife, legs feel too tired. It means sometimes you need a quiet place to fall without fear of being judged. And I want to be that place, a place where you don't have to pretend, a place where you don't have to hide, a place where your tears are not something to be ashamed of, but something to be understood. So don't disappear into your pain. Again, don't convince yourself that it's easier to deal with it alone, because it's not easier. It's just lonelier. And you deserve more than that. You deserve connection. You deserve comfort. You deserve comfort. You deserve someone who looks at your broken moments and doesn't walk away. So stay. Stay here with me, with someone who cares enough to see you completely. And when the weight gets too much, let it be ours instead of just yours. We'll carry your pain with you, not by taking it away, not by taking it away, not by pretending it doesn't exist, but by standing beside you so it never feels as heavy as it did when you were alone. Because I know there are things inside you, things you don't talk about, things that sit quietly in your chest and grow louder when the world goes silent, memories that don't fade, thoughts that don't rest, feelings that come back when you least expect them. And you've been carrying all of it, every piece, every weight, every scar, by yourself for so long that it started to feel normal. Like this is just how life is supposed to be. Like pain is something you just learn to live with quietly without asking for help. But it's not supposed to be that way. You were never meant to hold everything on your own. You were never meant to feel like your struggles are yours to hide, like your pain is something you have to protect others from. Because loving someone, truly loving them, means being willing to step into their storm, not just admire their sunshine. And I'm not afraid of your storm. I'm not afraid of the nights when you feel lost. I'm not afraid of the moments when your thoughts become too much. I'm not afraid of the tears that fall when you think no one understands. I want to be there in those moments, not to fix you, because you're not broken in the way you think you are, but to remind you that you don't have to carry everything alone anymore. So if your heart feels heavy, let me feel that weight with you. If your thoughts are overwhelming, let me sit with you in that chaos. If your past still hurts, let me walk through it with you, slowly, gently, without rushing you to get over it, because healing isn't something you force. It's something you grow into with patience, with care, with someone who doesn't leave when things get difficult. And I won't leave, not when your voice trembles, not when your eyes fill with tears, not when you feel like you're too much to handle, because you're not too much. You're just someone who has felt deeply, loved deeply, and been hurt deeply. And that kind of heart deserves to be held, not hidden. So when I say I will carry your pain with you, I mean, I will stay close enough to feel it, but strong enough to help you through it. I will be there when the memories come back. I will be there when the silence feels too loud. I will be there when you don't have the words to explain what's going on inside you. You don't have to explain everything. Sometimes just sitting together in the quiet is enough. Sometimes just knowing someone is there changes everything. And I want to be that presence in your life, the one you can turn to without hesitation, the one you don't have to filter yourself around, the one who sees your pain and doesn't try to run from it. Because your pain doesn't scare me. What scares me is the idea of you facing it alone, the idea of you breaking in silence while the world keeps moving like nothing is wrong, the idea of you thinking that no one would understand. Like, so you stop trying to be understood. I don't want that for you. I want you to feel seen, even in your darkest moments. I want you to feel safe, even when everything inside you feels uncertain. I want you to feel supported, even when you feel like you're falling apart. So lean on me, not all at once, not all your weight at once, just little by little. A thought here, a feeling there, a moment of honesty, even if it's uncomfortable. And I'll meet you there every time. No judgment, no pressure, no expectations, just presence. Because sometimes the strongest kind of love is the kind that quietly says, you don't have to do this alone anymore, and means it. So when the nights feel too long, when your heart starts to ache in ways you can't explain, when everything inside you feels like it's too much to hold, let me be there. Let me carry a piece of it. Let me remind you that even in your weakest moments, you are not alone, that even in your pain, you are still worthy of love, of care, of someone who chooses to stay. And I will choose to stay through every high, every low, every moment in between, through the days when you feel strong, and especially through the days when you don't, because carrying your pain with you isn't a burden to me. It's a promise. You are safe with me, not just in the easy moments, not just when everything feels light and simple, but in the moments when you don't feel like yourself. In the moments when your thoughts get heavy, when your heart starts racing, when the world feels like it's pressing down on you from every direction, you are safe with me there too. Because safety isn't just about being protected from the outside world, it's about knowing that you don't have to hide who you are on the inside. And I know you've learned to hide, maybe not all at once, maybe not even on purpose, but little by little over time, from the moments when you felt misunderstood, from the times when your feelings were too much for someone else, from the silence you received when you needed comfort the most. So you adapted, you became careful, you became quiet about certain things. You started choosing which parts of yourself to show and which parts to keep buried. And now, even when someone is close to you, there's still a distance, not because you don't want to be seen, but because you're afraid of what might happen if you are. Afraid that if you open up completely, if you let someone see your fears, your insecurities, your pain, they might not stay, they might not understand, they might walk away. And I want you to hear this clearly, deeply. I'm not going anywhere. Not when things get complicated, not when emotions rise to the surface, not when you feel unsure of yourself, because you don't have to earn safety with me. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to say the right things. You don't have to keep yourself together just to be accepted. You already are, exactly as you are, even in your most vulnerable state, even when your voice shakes, even when your thoughts don't make sense. You are still safe here, safe to speak, safe to feel, safe to be. And I know that might feel unfamiliar because when you're used to protecting yourself, being safe can feel almost uncomfortable. It can feel like you're letting your guard down too much, too fast, dome, like you're stepping into something uncertain. But safety doesn't rush you. It doesn't force you to open up all at once. It waits. It stays patient. It allows you to take your time, to trust slowly, to reveal things piece by piece. And I will wait as long as it takes, because your trust, your comfort, your sense of peace means more to me than anything else. So if there are things you wife, so if there are things you've never said out loud, you can say them here. If there are thoughts you've been holding back, you don't have to hold them anymore. If there are parts of your story that still hurt, you don't have to carry them in silence. You can bring them to me, and I won't judge you. I won't dismiss what you feel. I won't tell you that you're overthinking or overreacting or feeling too much, because your feelings are real and they deserve to be treated that way. So when you feel overwhelmed, when your chest feels tight, when your mind starts filling with doubts and fears, come closer, not physically, but emotionally. Let yourself lean into something that doesn't push you away. Let yourself experience what it feels like to not be alone in your vulnerability. Because that's what safety is. It's not the absence of pain, it's the presence of someone who stays even when the pain is there. And I will stay through your silence, through your words, through your tears, through your healing. I will stay in a way that doesn't make you question where you stand, in a way that doesn't leave you guessing or doubting or second guessing your worth. You won't have to wonder if you're too much. You won't have to wonder if you're too much. You won't have to wonder if you should hold back. You won't have to wonder if it's okay to feel what you feel. Because with me, it is. All of it is. And slowly, gently, over time, I hope you start to feel it. Not just hear it, but truly feel it. That you don't have to be guarded all the time. That you don't have to brace yourself for disappointment. That you don't have to prepare for someone to leave when things get hard, because I'm still here and I'm not stepping away from your truth. I'm stepping closer to it. So if your heart ever hesitates, if your mind tells you to pull back, if fear tries to convince you that it's safer to stay closed off, just remember this moment. Remember these words. You are safe with me.